Even though he died at the very beginning of the First Age, Feanor remained the most important character shaping this era. This is because his 7 sons had sworn an oath alongside him, both to reclaim the Silmarils and to avenge their grandfather. Through his sons, Feanor's influence on Middle-earth continued. However, happy endings did not await his sons either.
Hi everyone, welcome to Middle-earth Tales. I am Murat. Today I will tell the story of how each of Feanor's children who shared in their father's oath met their end. I use an AI clone of my own voice in my videos. If you would like to learn why and find out more about who I am, you can check out my About Me video. Also, I am sorry about my voice today. I have come down with the flu. Let's go.
The eldest child, Maedhros, accepted Melkor's offer to hold peace negotiations after his father's death. Melkor was implying that he could give back one of the Silmarils in exchange for peace, but of course they did not believe him. Maedhros went to the meeting with a company, suspecting he would be betrayed. However, the force Melkor sent was both larger and included Balrogs. The elves were slain, and he was taken captive. Melkor stated that he would release him if they ended the war against him, but this was not his true intention. In any case, the Noldor did not accept the offer. Melkor bound him to a precipice on Thangorodrim with an unbreakable shackle. Meanwhile, Fingolfin and his followers, who had been forced to take an extremely difficult path due to Feanor burning the ships, had also arrived in Middle-earth. Among them was Maedhros' cousin, Fingon. Fingon sought out Maedhros in an attempt to appease the divided Noldor, and he did find him. But he could not open the shackle to rescue him, and was forced to cut off Maedhros' right hand at the wrist. Later, the two were rescued by Thorondor, the Lord of Eagles. Maedhros' return indeed calmed the Noldor people, and the tension ended with Fingolfin becoming king. Maedhros established his dwelling at the closest possible point to Melkor's fortress, as he wanted to respond immediately to any potential attack. He got his wish. During the glorious battle, he was among the first to strike back against Melkor's army. The war, which ended in yet another defeat for Melkor, led to the siege of Angband, which would last for 300 years. During this time, Maedhros continued to live in a place called Himring. When Melkor launched a sudden assault with the Battle of Sudden Flame, many elven settlements were destroyed, but he held out. However, the Noldor had taken a great blow and were scattered in this war. They came together once again thanks to Maedhros. This formation, known as the Union of Maedhros, included not only elves, but also men and dwarves. Yet, in the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, the Union fell apart due to the betrayal of a man named Ulfang and his followers. The war was lost, and Maedhros' lands were occupied. After the Noldor had become thoroughly dispersed, Maedhros participated in the 2 kinslayings carried out against Doriath and the havens of Sirion, for he knew that a Silmaril recovered from Melkor was there. Although both slaughters caused great evil, Maedhros could not seize the jewel. The oath for which he had consumed and destroyed his life would not let him go. Following the War of Wrath and Melkor's defeat, he and his brother Maglor stole the Silmarils that had been reclaimed, but the evils they had committed caused the jewels to burn their hands as well. Unable to bear this pain, Maedhros threw himself along with the jewel into a chasm opened during the war, and so the eldest child died in this manner, knowing he had become as evil as the one he had sworn to take revenge upon. Feanor's second son, Maglor, settled in the east of Beleriand, like his elder brother Maedhros after their father's death, and took control of a narrow opening between Himring and the Blue Mountains. This pass later came to be known as Maglor's Gap. Being one of Melkor's routes down into southern Beleriand, this pass was seized by the dragon Glaurung and the orcs following him during the Battle of Sudden Flame. In the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, He was also a part of the Union of Maedhros. After Ulfang's betrayal, he killed Ulfang's son Uldor, but he could not change the fate of the war. Following this, Maglor, just like his brothers, participated in the attacks on both Doriath and the Havens of Sirion to reclaim the Silmaril. He was bound to his oath, but in truth, he did not wish to attack his kin any further. Consequently, when Elwing's children Elrond and Elros were captured during the third kinslaying, he took pity on them and took the two young children under his protection. After the War of Wrath, like his brother, he managed to steal one of the Silmarils. When the jewel burnt his hand as well, Maglor cast the Silmaril into the sea and departed from the history of Middle-earth. Maglor is one of the three brothers known to have been married, but his wife's name is unknown, and they had no children. Feanor's third son was Celegorm. Since he is usually mentioned alongside the fifth son, Curufin, I will explain the two together. He was also called Celegorm the Fair, but in truth, he was not quite such a person. After their father's death, like all his brothers, he went to East Beleriand. He and his brother Curufin settled in Himlad. Although this was a rather cold place, it still did not escape Melkor's wrath. During the Battle of Sudden Flame, like the others, he lost his homeland, and he and Curufin headed south. Though they wished to take refuge in Doriath, they were not welcomed due to the kinslaying. Thus they went further south and came to Nargothrond, where they took shelter with Finrod. When Beren arrived there to seek Finrod's aid, Curufin, through an extremely influential speech, prevented the elves of Nargothrond from helping their king. Sometime after Finrod and Beren departed, Luthien, who was searching for Beren, was captured and brought to the city. It was then that the two brothers devised a base plan. Their goal was to force Luthien into marriage with Celegorm and thereby lay claim to Doriath. However, Luthien escaped their clutches thanks to Huan and rescued Beren from Sauron's hands. But Finrod was dead. When news of Finrod's death reached the city, the elves cast them out. As the two brothers traveled eastward, they encountered Luthien and Beren prevented them from kidnapping her. During the ensuing struggle, Beren seized Curufin's dwarf-made dagger, Angrist, which would later be used to pry a Silmaril from Melkor's crown. Then, Curufin loosed an arrow at Luthien's back, but Beren intercepted it, shielding her with his body. They fled when Huan pursued them, and thus the two brothers' plans to seize Doriath fell through. Nevertheless, they forcibly entered Doriath during the second kinslaying, and it was there they met their end. Incidentally, Curufin's son was Celebrimbor, and Curufin was Feanor's favorite child due to his craftsmanship skills. During Curufin's exile from the city, Celebrimbor renounced his father and did not go with him. The fourth child, Caranthir, lived in Thargelion, located far to the east near the dwarves of Nogrod and Belagost. He had established good relations with the dwarves, and for this reason, he was likely the wealthiest among the brothers. Like the others, he fled south after the Battle of Sudden Flame. Caranthir was also the first person to whom Ulfang, who would later betray them, swore an oath of allegiance. It was through this that Ulfang and his men entered the Union of Maedhros. Caranthir too was killed during the second kinslaying. The sixth and seventh children, Amras and Amrod, were twins. They are the ones about whom the least information is known. Initially, they lived in the forests just south of where Maedhros resided. Both were renowned as skilled hunters. However, due to the wars, they too were forced to flee further south. They established a defensive line in Osirion to the south, and through their efforts, the orcs were unable to enter that land. They also took part in the third kinslaying at the Havens of Sirion and were killed there. Tolkien wrote another version in which one of the twins died in one of the burning ships even before Feanor's death, but in the Silmarillion, both brothers died during the kinslaying. In either case, nothing good came of them. And so, I have recounted what befell the sons of Feanor. They all perished while striving to fulfill the terrible oath they had sworn, just as was foretold in the prophecy of Maedhros. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope the strange pronunciations of some names did not bother you too much. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. Until we meet again next time, take care.